Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 60 of Six Figure Live. My name is Ben Hartley, Down Straight Creative and Six Figure Photography, and it's podcast time. I'm about to record a podcast, and I figured I would bring you guys in along for the ride. So here's the deal. I'm really getting ready. Let me rotate this camera around here. I'm literally getting ready right now to record an episode. And so I'm just going to bring you guys behind the scenes. You guys can listen in. Super live. You can see how I do it with my sexy ass microphone right here. If this is your first time joining Six Figure Live, we're 60 episodes deep. Majority of the time I'm bringing you guys behind the scenes at what we're up to at Down Straight Creative, the photography studio we have here in Columbus, Ohio. Behind me is Stephen Lowe. Stephen, say hi.
What up?
Ben Adams is on the other side. Ben, say hi.
Hi.
He said hi, couldn't hear him. And as well, though, I'm trying to provide you guys as much value as possible. I'm just trying to help you guys out. One of the ways that I do that is through this daily episode. Another thing that I do is the podcast. We actually just released a new episode like 5 minutes ago. Ian Weldon, an amazing, amazing guest. That is live. Episode, I think it was 23 of the podcast. I'd have to go take a look. But go and check that out on the Six Figure Photography blog page. Maybe I'll drop a link down below. But today I'm recording 2 episodes for you guys, 2 more. And I'm about to hop in an interview here with Brett. And so Brett Ludecki, I'm going to double check how to pronounce his name, and you guys are going to see how this goes. It would be kind of fun because you're going to see like super live right off the cuff. Victoria, what's up, girl? Okay. I'm going to find myself talking into this microphone, even though you guys are there. There's like cameras everywhere. I'm recording. I'm dual audioing it. This will be a long one. And so come in, come out, whatever you guys want to do. I got to hop in and chat with Brett here for a minute. I'm going to let him know that he is live. He's going to freak out. He's like, I didn't sign up for this. Victoria, what are you up to, girl? On this fine Wednesday afternoon. Let's add in Brett. All right. This is kind of fun. Brett actually emailed me out of the blue. He's not on Skype. Why are you not on Skype, my bro? He emailed me out of the blue, and we had a conversation that got started, and it started going in a really cool direction. And so we figured it would be great to have him on. Let's see here. Man, there's a lot of different Brett Ludeckis. I'm going to end up calling the wrong Brett Ludecki is my guess. Let's try this guy. Oh, man, there's a bunch. I'm going to call him real quick. Can I use your phone, Stephen?
Yeah.
See, this is what happens when you go live on this kind of stuff. Can I see? Yep. Thanks. All right, so we're going to call Brett because he's not on Skype right now. And we'll see what he's up to. 70347. All right. How do I turn this thing? See, this is like an Android. I don't know how to use this stuff. Speaker.
Yep.
No, I think I got it. Okay, we'll call him Brett right now. We're gonna get him. We're gonna get him live. Find out why he's not on Skype. We got a podcast interview to do.
Speaking.
Hey, is this Brett?
Yeah, this is him.
Hey, Brett, it's Ben Hartley. I can't find you on Skype, my man.
Hey. Oh, weird. You want me to see if I can search for you real quick?
Yeah, you could try that. I've found a couple different...
Give you a call on Skype real quick.
Yeah, man, I'll see you on the other side.
Okay, man.
All right, bye. Hey, we lost internet connection there for a minute, but I got him. He friend requested me. We're going to start this conversation now. Here you go. All right. On to the podcast. Accept. All right, you guys, we're going to jump in. I'm going to start talking to Brett. There's a number of questions that he and I have kind of discussed. Well, we haven't discussed, but there's a lot of topics that we're going to get into. And so you guys are just going to hear us talk about that. This episode will go live in like 3 months. And so you guys get the jump start on it. All right. Brett, what's up, my man?
Hey, Ben, how's it going, man? Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Like, I'm using my girlfriend's Boost headphones, so I'm like never used them before and don't know how the mic works, so I was a little bit wondering.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I can hear you fine. So you got headphones on already. Perfect. Let me just check my audio levels here real quick. Hey, just so you know, man, we are live on Facebook right now too. I thought this would be kind of fun to hop on Facebook Live and go this way. My guess is it's not going to pick up your audio very well, so they're probably going to hear me ask you a lot of questions. Hey, Steven, hop on Facebook Live real quick and see if you can hear Brett talk. Because if you can't, then there's not much point to that. I really wanted to give the audience kind of behind the scenes at recording the podcast here.
No, that's cool, man. That's cool. I'm actually going to try to find you guys on Facebook real quick and see if I can share that link too.
Sweet. And this will be cool because this episode won't actually go live on the podcast for like another, goodness, probably 2 months. And so the people on Facebook are going to get a little sneak peek. They're also going to get the unedited version. They're going to get all the swearing and the mess ups and the shenanigans, Brett.
Dude, I don't really have that much of a filter, so they're probably going to hear a lot.
That's all good. Hey, go ahead and talk a little bit more so that way Steven can hear if you can hear him. Hey, Madison says that they can hear you. Say a few more things, Brett.
Hey, guys. How's everything going?
Sweet. Okay. Looks like they can hear you. Super cool. All right, Brett. So the way this is going to work, my man, is for starters, thanks for reaching out. I know I was pretty like short back and forth with you. It's mostly just because there's so many episodes to record. There's so many connections that people are wanting to kind of be on the podcast, and I just wanted to kind of filter to see if this would be valuable. And honestly, man, you way showed up. You way delivered. I'm super excited to talk about the stuff that you brought up in terms of value for the audience. I think that people are going to gain a ton from this. And so that's rad. I appreciate it, man.
No worries, man. Yeah, like I felt sort of weird, like actually like reaching out and being like, hey, I think you guys would be useful because I just found you guys and I listened to a few interviews you guys did. And I was like, man, like I feel like I could provide like a lot more information with my background and everything, but I didn't want to sound like like full of myself at the same time. So
sure. Yeah, it's a there's a balance. There's a balance between like confidence and arrogance, and as long as you show up and actually like give more than you take, I think you're good to go, man. So here's the deal. I'm gonna record a separate introduction of you, Brett, after we actually just talk. So we're gonna jump right into things, and then once we hang up, I'm gonna make you sound like the coolest person in the world, and so maybe if you could send me over if you have anything that you'd like for me to kind of introduce about you, let me know what that would be. Otherwise, I'm just going to pull it from what I learned from you, from what I find on the internet. I'm going to do some Googling. I'm going to Google image search your name and see what I can find. So let me know. And then as well as we talk, there's going to be links that are going to come up, things like that. I'll make sure to get all of that in the show notes for the audience. And then, dude, this is just like a super real conversation. Like that's it. You and I have not spoken about any of these things, and we're not gonna. We're just gonna jump right in. So none of these kind of things are really like super prepared. I'm not gonna try to give you any like gotchas, but I will push back, and I want you to know that too, man. The last few episodes, I've felt like I haven't been able to really push back to the degree that I would have normally because I wanted to save face for the person I was interviewing. And I think I've just come to terms that I want to give the audience, like they deserve that pushback. Do you know what I mean? So
like you can feel free, man. Like,
okay, cool.
You're not gonna hurt my feelings if you want to push back. I'll be the first one that will admit I don't know all the answers, and what might work for me might not work for someone else. So if you want to push back, that's fine with me, man.
Okay, awesome, cool. It's coming from a place of love and respect, but I just wanted to say that now, just in case that time comes where I'm like, well, hold up, I don't want to catch you off guard. Here's the other part. While we are live on Facebook right now, this is going to go off to an editor. So if you do get to a point where you're just like, shit, like I just really messed that part up, or if a cell phone rings or something, we'll be able to edit that out. We'll just give Cole a little hi. Cole's the editor. He's a good friend of mine. So we'll just say, hi, Cole. Do you mind popping that out for a second? And we'll clear it up. So other than that, Brett, do you pronounce your name Brett Ludecki?
It's Brett Ludecki.
Ludecki.
Yeah.
Ludecki. Okay, I'm just trying to Ludecki.
Yeah, dude, it's a confusing one, man.
Luda. All right. Sounds good, man. Brett, do you have any questions for me before we start?
No, man. Like I don't think so. Like I'm just excited to talk to you guys, and hopefully I can provide some good information, and you guys find everything useful.
Awesome. Let's do the thing then.
Cool.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, cool. Welcome, Brett Ludecki. I'm super stoked to be able to talk with you. The Facebook Live audience is currently watching right now, but for those of you who are listening on the podcast, we're also broadcasting this. This is episode 60 of the Six Figure Photography Podcast. But enough about that. Brett, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. like right now I'm on like a little vacation, doing like a little bit of work out in San Francisco. So I'm here all week, and I got to go back Friday and do a few weddings back in DC. So yeah, everything's good, man. I can't complain.
Nice. So you live, work out of DC, currently in San Francisco. That's nice. So, okay, the DC area, I just drove through there. My wife and I went to Ocean City. We had to fly into DC.
Oh, nice.
It was amazing. I've never been. Yeah.
Yeah, no, DC is great. It's like a great market to be in, I think, for photography wise. Like there's just so many. Just looking at like one little market, the wedding market. I mean, it's huge there. So I feel very fortunate to live there and to work there. There's a great community there too. That's really helpful. I don't think I've seen a community of other photographers so willing to help in other areas. So I'm really fortunate for that, and really thankful for that too.
Nice. Okay, so let's jump right in because you're pretty fresh into this whole scene. I mean, you shot your first wedding in 2015. You kept going, and then you had the goal to reach out to me and say, "Hey, I think I might be able to provide some value to the listeners." And so, catch us up to speed a little bit in regards to how you got started, and then we're going to dig right into how you got to where you are today. Because, man, you kind of hit the fast track, and I want to dig into some of the specific tactics that you took in order to reach where you are. So. Where did it all begin for you?
Yeah, well, I've been doing photography in some fashion for probably like 15 years now. Not weddings though, and like I took a good 5-year break where I just wanted to focus on my previous career, and and so after that, at that point. It's sort of interesting because I grew up in Richmond, and my sister's in the wedding industry. She's a florist down there, and she does I think like 70 to 80 weddings a year. And my mom decided to semi-retire and start buy a old home out there and start a wedding venue. And so she asked me to go ahead and see if I could help her out by like shooting weddings there. And like she was just like, we could offer some special where if they book at the venue, they get my sister's services for a discount, and you can go shoot weddings there. And like I always hated wedding photography, to be perfectly honest with you.
That's fair.
Like I remember looking back at it like years ago, and I was just like, man, this is crap. Like it's like bad prom posy, just bad photography, and maybe I just didn't look around enough at the time, but like I just, I think I just got one little glance of it, and it was probably just stuff from Facebook, like people sharing their engagement photos and stuff like that. And I just saw it. I was just, man, this is, just pretty bad. Like I don't really want to be associated with this. And so my mom knew how I felt about that and everything, and how much I hated wedding photography or just the thought of it. And but I mean, I'm gonna do whatever it takes for family. So I was like, okay, like I'll do this for you, Mom. So like I went out and I was like, I need a portfolio first because no one's going to book me or want to book me or book my mom's place, more importantly, if I don't have a portfolio. So I had to come up with one quick. And, the way I did that was I just literally asked maybe 5 or 6 different friends that are or friends of friends that are couples. And some of them were already married, if I could do some engagement type photos for them. And, so I did that and, shot about 5 or 6 different engagement photos. And
let's pause there for a quick segment. Yeah, let's pause there because this is something that I want to talk about in a little bit more detail, because I think this is a question that I get asked all the time where, a lot of listeners, they're just trying to figure out how to enter into the space, how to get things going. And so this was you are trying to start a wedding photography business and you don't even have a portfolio. And so you reached out to 5 or so friends. What did you do? Did you call them, email them? What was the approach? What did you say?
Yeah, well, I just told them pretty much what I just told you, and the fact that, hey, here's the game plan. My mom just, is putting together this wedding venue and trying to get it up and running. And, she asked me to help her with the wedding photography, but I need a portfolio. And, so I showed them some of my old studio work from back in the day and, some old lifestyle stuff I did. And this is, I took a 5-year break without touching camera. So I was, everything I showed them was really old.
Yeah. And you did this for free though, right?
Yeah, I did this for free. I was just like, you know what, I need a portfolio ASAP. Let's just go ahead and get this done. And, like, I think I triple booked, like, one couple where it was just, like, in the morning, I did one shoot outside one location at, like, 6:30 a.m., sunrise. And then, like, I did, like, an indoor one later that day, and then did, like, an evening shot or a sunset shot later that Saturday. And, like, I just did that for, a few weeks until, like, I got comfortable enough to put my stuff out there and, sort of introduce people to, like, hey, this is what I'm doing now, or this is what I'm trying to do, and, like, I had it the whole time. It was like, this is what I'm doing to help my mom. So, yeah.
So you still weren't even thinking about like wedding photography for your own business yet, correct?
No, I was still thinking I was going to hate it, to be honest with you. And at that time, like, I started looking around at like what other people were doing, and I was like, wow, there is some actual like really, really talented people out there that are like just taking amazing wedding photos, and like I never saw that before, and so that was like news to me. And so I was just like, man, like that makes me feel so much better that there are so many people out there that are doing a great job at this. And like I said, 10 years ago when I looked at wedding photography, it was just absolutely terrible.
And there still is that, though. I mean, let's be real. There still is that. I mean, before I got on the phone with you, I was just talking about my interview that I just released today with Ian Weldon. And you guys should go check it out if you haven't. I mean, to be honest, there still is so much photography out there that is just poor at best. And it's, definitely the bar has been kind of lower. The playing field, it's just so accessible, even with like, man, the iPhone 7 portrait mode is just insane. But okay. So apart from that, I want to talk about something here real quick, because you did these shoots for free, correct?
Yeah, correct.
So this is something that I think there's a lot of talk about there in terms of like when to shoot for free and when not to. And just to be clear on this, I think this is worth discussing. My kind of way of thinking about things in life is to do things for either free, expensive, but never cheap. And I like that you went out and you did it for free. And here's the deal. Like, if you have leads, if you have bookings, if you have like business that's bringing money, then doing things for free probably doesn't make the most sense. But in this situation, when you're just starting out, I think it's probably like people are always asking like, what's the first thing I should do in order to get clients in the door? What's the first thing I should do when I start my business? Or what's the first thing I should do when I move to a new town? I probably think it's just like, man, go pick up your camera and go shoot for free.
Totally.
And do you agree?
Yeah, totally. Like, if you don't have a portfolio, how are you going to get people to pay you to take photos?
Yeah.
And, I mean, I think that's, and so you have to shoot for free. If you don't have a portfolio, there's, who's going to give you money to shoot if you can't show them that you've already done a good job shooting previous people? So,
sure. So then how did you make that transition? What did that turn look like for you, where you're shooting engagements? You're shooting engagements for couples who have already been married, right? You're doing it for free. And then you may start making the transition to charging. What was that like?
Yeah, well, I started posting stuff on Craigslist.
Oh no, Craigslist photographer.
Oh yeah, no, seriously. But that was like the route that like I thought I had to go, or like that was the the next step. I was like, let me try to take these photos that I have that are now in my quote unquote portfolio, and I actually still have a few of these photos in my portfolio, believe it or not. I there's photos that like I love that are still in my portfolio from those initial free shots or free engagement sessions.
Just to add to that as well, it's funny, man. We went full time. I went full time with photography in 2013. Shot my first, real weddings in 2012. And I'm in the same boat, dude. There's not just an image in our portfolio, but it's like the cover. When you land on our website, it is just like smack dab center screen. This photograph that's like one of the very first weddings that I did for my good friend Ricky and Angelica May out in Bowling Green. If you're listening, what up, guys? Isn't that crazy?
No, that's so funny because that's the same thing. If you go to my homepage, the first photo that shows up at the Washington Monument, that couple and the girls in the pink dress, and you have like the blue sky. That was literally the first photo shoot I did after coming back, or the first shoot I did after coming back for 5 years. And like I took that photo and I absolutely loved it. And I think it stands out. And it's especially in the DC market, everyone knows what that building is and that monument is. And so I still have it. And I still am proud of it and show that off. And it's the the very first photo that pops up when you go to my homepage.
Nice. Okay, so we were talking about charging money. We're talking about making the transition. How did you start billing?
Yeah, well, I just was posting stuff on Craigslist, and I was just booking like a few like crappy gigs, and like I say like quote unquote weddings, but I mean it was just like they were sort of backyard style weddings, and I quickly realized after 2 of these that this is not going to get me to the next step, in the sense where it's just like there's nothing I could get that was portfolio worthy, I felt.
Let's actually pause and talk about that just for a quick second, because I do want to say though that like amazing weddings and even amazing clients who are willing to pay $10,000 or whatever doesn't necessarily mean like big extravagant weddings. I think some of my favorite experiences that we've had have been small little backyard weddings, right? And clients who super value their photography. And so I actually think it was probably less of the clients and more of the location in which you were targeting them, right? Yeah. So it was probably more of like Craigslist's fault, not the backyard wedding. I guess I want to make sure that blame isn't put on backyard weddings, because I freaking love me some backyard weddings, right?
And don't get me wrong, like I love small weddings. I think small weddings are the best. And I shouldn't say backyard weddings. I should say because I mean like I've done like a few backyard weddings that have just been absolutely gorgeous, but I'm talking about like just backyard weddings where it's like trying to pull teeth to find something that looks good, or like a way, where, it's like the backyard doesn't even look good.
Sure. And I guess, again, I think it just comes back to, it's like, who are the type of clients who are looking for their photographer on Craigslist?
Exactly.
And that's it. I think that's the quantifier. Is that right? Is that a word, quantifier? Is that real?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
We'll go with it.
Sweet.
So like I shot 2 weddings, and I just realized that I'm like, man, like I'm not going to be able to get stuff that's like really portfolio worthy, or it's going to be really difficult to get stuff that's portfolio worthy at these locations.
What were you priced at this point?
Oh, dude, like I'm embarrassed to say.
It's all good. We were all there, man. I started at what? That's like, I don't know. I think $750 when I officially came into the scene. It was like $750, but I think before that, it was even less.
Oh, dude, I was lower. I think I did my first one for like $300, and then the second one, like I think I had like I was like $400, and I thought that was like pushing it. And like I mean, like I don't know, maybe like and at that time too, like I just didn't have the confidence in booking, or like giving my actual value. Like I just didn't think I had that much actual value with like a limited portfolio, and pretty much like 0 weddings under my belt. I just felt like I couldn't demand that much money. So I took lowball offers and did like a few really inexpensive weddings that now like I would never think about doing, just because I don't have the time. So
sure. So that was you did 2 of those, okay? So you're 2 in. Then what was the next step from there?
Yeah, so like the next step was I set up like 3 the 3 like wedding directory portfolios, like through like the Knot and Wedding Wire, and the next I actually got a inquiry from, I think it was like Wedding Wire, I think, and the couple was like getting married ASAP, and they had like a nice venue, and they had like a very nice venue, and they were just getting married ASAP, and it was like prime wedding season. So I just figured all the other photographers were booked up, and that's why they emailed me.
You lucked out. Nice.
Exactly. I think it was like honestly like just sort of like a good timing situation to like start booking like it was the perfect timing for me to book that wedding, just for the fact that I really think all the other good wedding photographers were booked, because it was like prime wedding season here. So
nice.
Like we get really busy in the fall, and so I think this was like an October 1st wedding, or September. I'm sorry, like September, whatever the first weekend of September was, just last year.
Yeah.
So so I ended up doing that wedding. It was at like a nice venue. It was a very small wedding. It was just their immediate family. I think it was less than 10 people were there, but that got me like actual photos of a real wedding, a bride in a wedding dress.
You finally had a picture of a bride. Amen.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And yeah, so I was just like, wow, like I did it. And like I charged like $750. I figured this couple was like, they got married at like a nice venue, so they had a little bit of money. So I was like, let me raise my prices to $750. Like I was, and I felt nervous actually saying that to them. I was like,
Totally get it, man.
yeah, like I remember talking to them over the phone. They asked me how much it would be, and I was like very nervously said $750, and then paused and like waited to see what they would say, and thought they were going to negotiate, and I think they pretty much were just like,
they probably high-fived in the background is what they did actually.
Exactly.
They gave each other like air high fives.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like here sweating bullets that they're going to like balk at this price. So,
yeah. So. I totally get it, man. So okay, so you went from free engagement shoots to Craigslist, now to the Knot and Wedding Wire. I want to talk about these wedding directories for a quick minute because again, I get a lot of questions in regards to these online directories. Wedding Wire, the Knot, which one's better? Do I even do it at all? Do I pay for it? Do I go for the free account? What have you learned? I mean, what's been your process? Even just like takeaways, if you have any tips for the audience who's listening, I mean, do you think it's even worth their bother? And as we're talking about this too, maybe we can talk about it from two perspectives. One is where you were at, right? Where you were scaling your business, you were still growing it up, you were in the early stages. And then the other perspective is sustainability. Does it make sense for someone to be there who's charging, $3,000-$4,000? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, I mean, like, to be perfectly honest with you, if I wasn't on those sites, I wouldn't have been able to scale the business as quick as I was able to. I just wouldn't have been able to get that much exposure.
Okay.
But I do think, that being said, the Knot and Wedding Wire is very tricky because if you think about it, it's just like you just have one thumbnail to show people and a page full of nothing but thumbnails. So you have to make sure that you have like the right photo, you have the right style, and I think that's where like my marketing background sort of came in. Like I was able to use that. And
so what did you do? What did you do to differentiate yourself from all the? Because I'm with you, by the way, man. So we're not on the Knot. We are on Wedding Wire, and so I'm curious what you did to separate yourself from all the other photographers who are on there.
Yeah, well, like one of the first things I was looking at, like I was just looking, I think it was on the Knot at the time, and I was looking at everyone on the front page, their photo, and I saw that, and like I think I counted it up at the time, but like over 50% of the photos on the Knot in my area, they had like mainly it was like 50% of the photo was green, either like green grass, green trees, and I just
green skin tones.
Not skin tones, but it was just like overwhelming. Every picture had majority green and just a landscape. And I remember just like looking at my computer, putting the front page on, and then standing like 10 feet back, and like I just saw like green blur. Looking at these thumbnails from like 10 feet back on the other side of the room, and I was like, what I noticed was if I have a green photo, no one's going to be – people are just going to skip over it because they've already seen so many other green photos.
Interesting.
And so, like I went through my portfolio and found some that didn't have the same color palettes as the rest of the photos. And then I selected that as my photo, stood back 10 feet again, and just looked if it stood out enough where I could pick it out like in the sort of fuzziness of green from across the room. And, once I had like a photo that like I felt like I could do that, then I was just like, okay, people are going to come to that photo and, it's going to be different than the rest of them. They're going to stop and take notice. And, I think that's one of the quickest things that you can do to stand out from the crowd in a crowded marketplace. It's almost being like in Times Square, and, you have all these billboards, flashing lights and everything. It's like, how do you stand out in that? You have to do something that's different. You have to have a photo that's different. Either it's different colors, something different. And that's how I did it. And there's some other photographers who are like, I know they choose sort of quirky photos. Yeah, and whatever their style is, but like I think the key to the success on any of those wedding directory sites is you have to be different. You have to show something different in your thumbnail photo.
Yeah, so it's fun, as you bring this up, I used a very similar technique. I mean, not in execution, but in practice. So, in looking at all the photographers who were on Wedding Wire, almost, I would say 100% of them were all photographs of a bride and groom, of flowers, of a ring. Mostly, again, it's always the couple. It's the bride and groom, bride and groom, bride and groom. And rather than that, I put up a photograph of us as photographers, right?
Oh, wow.
And so not showing a picture of the couple, but showing who we are, and that's made a huge difference. And again,
Really?
it's
Wow.
it's also connected to it's beginning to set the expectation of the personal touch that comes with our brand, right? Like even when we ask on our contact form when they fill it out, we're asking specifically not just like how much do you value photography, but how much do you value having Ben Hartley photograph your wedding,
Oh,
right?
nice.
And then along with it, everything is entirely it's about who we are as photographers, and so that has been a big differentiator for us to allow us to kind of separate ourselves from all of the fluff. And I'll tell you what, man, too, it's a risky move. This is a similar problem actually that exists in regards to like business cards. I see a lot of people with business cards, and they're putting an image right on their business card, and the tricky thing about that is when you hand that business card to someone, if they are not in love with that image, do you know what I mean? If they're not in love with it, they're just going to be like, well, this guy, like, yeah, he's a photographer, but I'm not going to, do you know what I mean? It's
No, that's so true. And like I'm thinking of a specific business card I got like a few months back at like locally here in the DC area. There's the Capital. What it's called Capital Area Photographers, and we had a meeting, and someone handed me their business card, and like it had one photo on it, and I was like, "That's the picture that you chose to put on your business card? Yeah. Like, really? Like?"
And you might love it, and a lot of people might love it. Half the people, 75% of the people might love it. But what about the person who doesn't? Like I think it's a risky move, and so I would much rather connect on a personal level to the audience. And understand who they are and what they value before showing them imagery, at least before showing them one image to entirely judge me on. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. My business card has a image on it, but it's like a fine art photo that's like sort of abstract of like water rushing over these rocky, downstream in this rocky area, and it's a interesting photo to put on like wedding for a wedding photographer to use. But it's like I don't want to be the same wedding photographer as everyone else.
Sure. So you mentioned that you were prior to this in a digital marketing agency. You were doing brand consulting. Can you unpack that a little bit more? Because I think that'll give us a better understanding of context in terms of the way that your brain ticks.
No. So I ended up, I was working as a digital marketing consultant, and marketing agencies were, like hiring me out to go work with their clients to help their clients. And some of these were like short-term contracts where it would be like 1 month. Some of them would be like 6 months. Some of them would be like a year. And so I would go in and figure out what this company was trying to achieve marketing-wise and what their goals were, and come up with plans to go ahead and do that, for them to do that, and then sometimes actually do it myself, run their marketing. So, and some of these were, smaller companies, and, some of these were, huge brands. And, that's what I was doing prior to wedding photography or photography in general.
Nice. What have been some of the practices, ideologies, specific techniques, if you want to get into kind of actual tactics, that you have learned from your digital marketing agency days that you're now applying to your wedding photography brand that are helping you to scale?
I think the best thing is just, I guess if I could give like a few pointers, it would be, be different. There's, especially in the wedding industry, I think there's like I look at probably more than 80% of the photographers out there are trying to like all be the same type of person, all talking about like how much they love weddings and, you know, want to be there on your special day. And that's all great and everything. But, you know, it's just like when everyone's saying the same message, it's just so canned and, you know, it just comes out terrible and ungenuine now if they've heard that and seen it on like 5 other photographers' websites. So, you know, be different, be yourself. You know, like I talk about a lot of different things on my website. Like I talk about my favorite movies, what inspires me, and all these things are like not photography related. They're you know, some of them are, you know, art and, you know, cinema. So that's one thing is just be different. You know, of course you have to take like really good photos. I mean, I think we haven't talked on that, but you know, you have to have really good photos to, you know, if, you know, it's a competitive market out there. So you can't get by, you know, just with like half-assing your photos and half-assing your weddings. You have to, you know, really, you know, do some amazing stuff and take really amazing photos. So, I mean, but that should be a no-brainer, but I don't think it is. And I mean, I think another, you know, just the way you look at marketing and advertising, trying to stand out, trying to position your brand a little bit better, you know, over everyone else's. I think that's. I think a lot of people don't realize they actually have a real brand, and they think only like huge companies have brands. But like even, you know, a wedding photographer starting out still has a brand, and you know, it's important to show that and stand behind that brand too.
Right on. I think something that I want to push back just a little bit on is you talked about being different, and you gave an example of, you know, how it's kind of commonplace to see photographers talking about, you know, how they love to be part of your big day, et cetera, and client experience and all that kind of stuff. And I guess I think I would refine that to not necessarily say be different for different sake, but rather just be 100% you and own that shit all day long. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I think, and if that's you, if you're the person who just gets super excited about like the love on a wedding day and about like being a part of this big thing, like, then I think own that to the T and be all in on that. And I think that's what you're getting at. You know, I think that's what you're getting at. But I just had to say that I've been thinking a lot about this. That I had a conversation with Nick MacArthur on episode 27 of the podcast, okay. And she talked a lot about identifying that, like identifying what makes you, your it factor. You guys should go check that out. It was a really fun conversation. But she talked just a lot about like recognizing, having the self-awareness to recognize who you are, what makes you you, and then just like putting that on blast 100% unashamedly. And it sounds like that's what you're doing. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, no, I think, I think you're right. If you absolutely love being there and everything, you know, talk about that and everything. But like, then again, though, you still have to look, if everyone else is saying it, you know, your message will sort of look canned. So I think you need to, you know, say it, but say it differently or say it louder.
No, you're right. Yeah, that's totally valid, man. Yeah.
Yeah, like, because I look at, like, a lot of websites, or a lot of photographers' websites, and they all say sort of the same thing. And even if they are being 100% genuine, to me, at this point, I'm so jaded, or maybe I'm so jaded or, like, you know, skeptical now. Like, it's like, I don't know if I believe it or believe them, or just, like, being like, did you guys just put that on there because that's what you know, that's what you were told to say or saw everyone else saying?
Sure. 2 thoughts on that. One thing that you just said that I want to emphasize, because I don't know, you like said it and then you like went right past it, but you said say it louder, right? And I think maybe that's something that gets back to the like do you, and then really, really do it. Like, don't half-ass it. Don't kind of like tiptoe around like, yeah, weddings are great. Like, if that's really your effect, if that's what you stand for, then like say it loud. But the other thing too is, this is something that I've had to wrestle with in regards to creativity, in regards to producing photographs for a couple. I really struggled with the fact that I was like, man, in my head, I was like, man, I've already made a shot like this, right? I've already taken a picture like this. I've already done this. This is old. This is stale. Everyone else is doing it. And then I had to kind of very humbly recognize that I may have done it 15 times for other people, but I haven't done it for this bride. I haven't done it for this couple, right? This is their wedding. And they've also hired me to create work like this. And so I think the other part of it is that we see our own stuff day in, day out. We see everybody else's stuff all the time. But couples who are coming to us, they're in this world for a very short time. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're not like, this isn't grocery shopping to them. They're not going down the cereal aisle every damn day or the wedding aisle. This is it for them. And so I think it's understanding also that perspective that, I'm not trying to justify the person who doesn't go all in on being who they are. I guess I just want to acknowledge the fact that I think for a couple who's looking for a photographer, it might not be as much of a problem.
Yeah, and I'm the same way, man. I do some of the same shots over and over again, and one of the reasons I do that is because like couples come to me for those shots, and even though it's not the like I've shot engagement photos at the Lincoln Memorial, I can't even count how many times, and it's like at this point I can do it with my eyes closed, and it's not the most creative thing for me and everything, but like people love the pictures and they still look creative because they only seen them on my website and they want those photos, and so like I think that's I mean it's just like even if you shot in the photo 15 times, your bride hasn't seen it before, maybe just saw it once on your website and you really fell in love with it and that's why she booked you. So yeah, you do have to do that and take that into account too.
Nice. One thing that I love about you, man, is that like you've grown immensely, but it hasn't just happened. And I want to be clear about this. I interviewed Ryan Gandy, and it was a very similar kind of exchange because the quick conclusion that I made is you were kind of like all in on many fronts, right? You didn't just sit on Craigslist. You didn't just continue to shoot, your friends and family. You didn't just stay on Wedding Wire. You also went to the Knot. But as well, you started using video. You started using intentional copy, branding. Can you unpack video for a little bit? Because video is like, dude. By the way, listeners, if you're not aware, like Facebook video is like the shit, okay? So you should probably start capitalizing on that like now. Like, look, I'm literally on Facebook Live right now, you guys, doing the Six Figure Photography Live on Facebook as we're recording this podcast, just because video is so powerful right now. It's being pushed out so heavily. So can you talk about your decision to create a promotional video piece for your brand?
Yeah, like and this is back with my digital marketing days. Like I just realized that everyone's doing print copy. You have to stand out on the web, and one of the ways to do that, and this also goes to like branding yourself and everything. It's like I have to show people who I am, and just having like one picture on my About Me page on my website isn't enough anymore. Like I really have to show people how I work and interact with clients and what makes me tick and what I get inspired by, and like I have to talk about that and show them that, and they have to see it, and and so like I knew that was one of the things that I had to do, pretty early on, and so I think I did that. Like I did my first wedding in September, and I filmed that video, or I had that video filmed, I think in November, the beginning of November. So, and I get people who call me all the time, and they quote something that was on the video, or they tell me they saw the video, and so I know people are watching it out there, and so I know it's working, and I've also had people call me and said the reason they booked me is just because of the video, because they got a little glimpse of who I was as a person. They listened to me talk, they heard what I was saying, and saw how I was interacting with clients, and they liked that, and in the video itself, like I have, we interview one of the clients that I was shooting an engagement shoot for. That like I just did their wedding actually like 2 weeks ago, people really relate to the video. They like being able to see who you are, especially before they email you. People want to know who they are or who you are before they send you an email. They want to know as much as they can about you, and a video is a good way to tell them and show them.
Yeah, absolutely. Video is the number one way to tell stories. I mean, like you can tell stories so much better. Well, I mean, I'm doing it right now, right? I'm again, I reference the SF Live. Like, it's the number one way to actually to tell a story. It's also the number one way to build trust with an audience. And so I'm totally with you, man. It's trust. You get to show your heart. You get to show your personality, who you are, what you care about. This is what I love about video. This is what I love about again all the video content that I produce. Is when I write, I feel like a lot of times I can come across arrogant, but when people can actually see me talk and they can see my passion, they can like see the expression on my face, my heart. There's a great ability there. And so my question to you then is, did you produce this on your own? Did you hire somebody to produce this content? What did you do?
No, I'm not the expert in video, so I hired someone for it because the video reflects your brand, and like I looked at like a few other photographers' promo videos that they did, and like some of them I could tell where they did it themselves, and I could see the mistakes in them and everything. I was just like, man, that's like reflecting on them. And that's reflecting on their brand. So, like, I went and hired someone who came out of the VCU film department, which is in Richmond. It's a really good art school. They do a really good film program down there, and that's the school I went to.
Nice.
So I hired him. I mean, this guy's at the time, I think it was like 22 years old, 23, just came out. But I saw his other videos, and I was like, this guy has the same style I have. He's very creative in what he does. Like, and it sounds cheesy, but like I fell in love with his like B-roll footage. I was just like, man, like his and maybe this is just because I'm a big nerd, but I was like, man, this is like B-roll footage is like on point. Like I like it. And,
Dude, I love you some B-roll. Like,
yeah,
throw some bees on it.
exactly.
That's what I said. Throw some bees on it. I got a question about this, man, because I bet the audience is listening right now, and they're like, okay, yeah, great. You produced a video, but you hired someone. Like, I think a lot of people struggle with, a lot of people are struggling to get paying clients. They're struggling with trying to figure out where their dollars go. And you threw money at video, right? And like, again, I think when you're just starting out, there's very little money and there's a lot of time. That's why I was curious if you made it yourself, because I think that tends to be the course of action for a lot of photographers, especially with the way that gear can shoot video now and things like that. And so, so can I ask how much did you invest in this? Can I ask that? Do you feel comfortable talking about that?
Yeah, no, like I'm fine with that. Yeah, so I mean, like Brian, the guy I used, Brian Hogue, we can give a shout out to him.
Brian, what up?
Yeah, he just came out of film school, so he was very not as expensive as like other people that had his skill level, I thought. And we actually shot a wedding together, and that's how I met him. And I actually then turned around and referred him to another client that asked for a wedding photographer. So I immediately, within like a 3-week span, shot a wedding with him, shot a wedding with him, and referred him a client, and then called him up and was like, hey, I want you to do a video for me. Can you, give me a quote and we can talk ideas? And so, I think the first video I spent like $600 on.
Oh, wow.
And I've done a few more videos with him before, after that. So,
Yeah,
I truly believe in him.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I think if you're listening to this and you're trying to figure out what this could look like for you, and you're trying to balance dollars, I think what Brett has done, it could make a lot of sense. I think, to go to a university, maybe it's an alma mater, maybe it's a local campus, to see if there's any student work that you could look at that maybe you can get in touch with to get something made. You guys, this is one of those things that, like, man, make something, right? It's not going to be Steven Spielberg. It's not going to be incredible the first time out, but just freaking make something. The other option is to partner, is to team up with another photographer. Again, your gear can do it. It's not that difficult. You could learn this stuff on YouTube and maybe to share, to kind of do an exchange. I see a lot of photographers exchanging headshots. Why not exchange doing quick little video promotions for one another? That could be another good option. To be honest, I have a video background, so I made my own. So you could make your own. These are totally viable solutions. So Brett, while we've been kind of on here, people are hopping on the Facebook Live video, and Ryan Duggar just asked us a question, and I thought it was in context for the podcast episode right now, and so I figured I would ask it. He's kind of curious. Once you produce this video, what's the most effective outlet to actually share it, to publish it, and to have it be seen? Because does it just exist on your website, on your About page? Are you sharing this out through social media? How did you kind of maximize the presence of this video, this investment, really?
Yeah. To be perfectly honest with you, I just shared it on my social media platforms at the time, which weren't even that big. But like the biggest. It's like I didn't have like a huge reach on social media at this time. I still don't. And so I just shared it on social media, but like just having it on my website has been like the best thing for me, because now people, when they come to my website, they go to my About Me page, and like I think besides my wedding portfolio or my homepage of my wedding portfolio, then the next page people go to, and I keep track of this on Google Analytics, is my About Me page. They want to see who I am. So I knew that page was going to be super important for me to have actual substance on. And so it's just parked right there now.
Yeah, rad. Yeah, ours is to answer the question for you, Ryan. Ours is primarily on our homepage. I mean, it is there, just like what Brett says. It's there for for your bride who's going to be on your, like, finding you on your page, kind of digging in there. But apart from that, now too, there's a lot of, just social media. By the way, can we just stop saying social media and just like start saying like it is like just the internet? It's like not social media anymore. It's just like, this is how we consume the internet now. But anyhow, now there's so many ways that you can break that up. And so, yes, it can be on your website, but then go ahead and actually, I would encourage you to not just share it on Facebook, but to re-upload it on Facebook. You're going to get a much larger reach when it's natively uploaded into Facebook, right? Facebook is actually going to take that and they're going to want more people to see it because they're hosting it versus if you drop in a YouTube link. So don't do that.
Facebook doesn't want to send you to another website. They want to keep you on Facebook.
Exactly, yeah. And so you can do it that way. The next obviously is, now with Instagram stories. Cole, what's up, my man? So Instagram stories, sorry, my buddy just hopped on the Facebook Live. So anyhow, Instagram stories, even Snapchat. There's all kinds of ways that you can put little snippets, 15-second snippets out there and just deliver content out to people. So anyhow, I guess, Ryan, that's it, man. I think still the primary way is on your website. But on that note too, man, Wedding Wire. Hell, on our Wedding Wire page, we have our video uploaded there as well. So you can put it out on directories too.
Yeah, you can, and that's something, I think at the time they didn't allow that, but now they do, and so I think mine's on there. I would have to double check.
Yeah,
I'm terrible.
Yeah.
So,
if on the last thought too, if you are in that category of like SEO expert, you can separately rank. If you were to upload, an about video up to YouTube, you could separately rank for that video. That way you could pop up organically for your website. You could pop up for your Facebook page. You can also pop up then on your YouTube link for that video. But that's getting all kind of other tactics. And so anyhow, hey man, let's keep going because I want to get to a couple of the thoughts here before we stall out. So paid advertising, as we're talking about the Knot and Wedding Wire, you've used paid advertising to jumpstart your brand. And there's a lot of like back and forth thoughts. I think a lot of photographers reject paid advertising. They're all like word of mouth. It's all about referrals and giving a great experience and all that kind of stuff. And so it's not very often I get to hear from someone who actually cares about paid advertising. So how did you use it? What were you using when you say paid advertising, by the way?
Yeah, no, paid advertising. I was using a lot of different means. Like I got paid accounts for the Knot Wedding Wire. I was on Facebook. Facebook advertising was great just for the fact that I can target people who just got engaged. So that was really easy to target people to get work. I was also using Google Ads, to get things going.
Out of all those, what was the most effective in terms of dollars and ROI?
I know I have this information somewhere. I think, in all honesty, for me, Wedding Wire was better than the Knot for the ROI, and after that, I think it was early on. It was Facebook, but then I think I sort of got out of the range of what brides wanted to pay from Facebook, and not trying to say. Not trying to say that like there's not like brides out there that have big budgets or anything like that. It was just more the fact that I think the brides that I was catching their eye, they didn't have really huge budgets, so I think I overgrew that pretty quickly. And like I say, like your results may different than mine, but that's what I found.
Sure. And I think too that gets into targeting and all the different targeting variables that you're using, all that kind of stuff. Okay, and so now you're starting to wean yourself off of paid. Can you explain a little bit about this process? You've kind of gone in the direction of paid to get you ramped up, and now you're pulling back. How has that transition been?
Yeah, so my idea when I first got into this and decided like I actually wanted to do this for a living, and I liked wedding photography. then my idea was like, I'm way behind the power curve. There's people out there that have been doing this for years. There's people, I have so much to learn. And so what I wanted to do was actually shoot as many weddings as quickly as possible. Like I hear certain people out there, they mention that they've been doing it for, like 5 years and have done like 50 weddings or, or however much. And I was just like, I want to do as many as possible to, one, get experience, two, get a portfolio. And then like the third one was also equally as important, was to get a referral base. And so like I knew the more weddings I shot, especially in a shorter amount of time, the I would achieve those goals quicker, and I wanted to, of course, achieve those. Those were my main goals right there, and so like my goal was to go out there and shoot as many weddings as possible, as quick as possible.
Yeah, it's the practice of like testing, and this is a luxury that we don't have as a service industry, especially weddings, where when I say testing, like McDonald's can release a new item on the menu and charge a certain dollar amount and sell hundreds of thousands of them, and then change it up or down 10 cents and see the results and go from there. And for us, when it comes to testing pricing, testing strategy, testing marketing, testing the ways that we're emailing people or doing our interviews, it's very hard. And so I think that you were wise, man, to just get as much going. It's like thrash.
Oh, yeah.
Like thrash early, make changes, turn it over, try new things, test, retest, and fail, man. Like I'm sure you failed a hell of a lot, as did I, and then just keep going. And so I think there's really no shortcut. This is one of those things that like you need to fail and you need to test. That's it. I mean, that's how it goes.
Yeah, and like I specifically, I'm probably gonna get like shit on for saying this, but it's like I like undercutted the market a little bit for what I thought like my photos were worth. Like I undercut just because I wanted to book as much business as possible and get as much business and learn from those mistakes and develop my brand and just everything that you just said. That's like I wanted to be the best as possible as I could be, as quick as possible. So
sure, I totally get it, and I don't hold that against you. I think the problem becomes when photographers do that and they come in low and then they get comfortable. And then they get scared that if they start moving things up that they'll fail, and they freak out, and then they never move. That's the problem. That's the photographer that I have a problem with. But for the photographer who comes in 20% under market value, delivers, and then
20%'s a lot.
Say it again.
I said 20% is a lot.
Well, if you're there for a wedding, if you're there for 2 weddings, 3 weddings, and you move up, and then you move up, and then you move up, and then you move up, that's a different story. And I have nothing wrong with it. To be honest, if I had to move to a new area, brand new city, even out of the country, whatever it may be, that's probably what I would do. I'd shoot for free, and then I would shoot for under market, and then I would just start quickly leveling up my game. But you can't get comfortable, and you can't get scared. You got to keep evolving, otherwise you're gonna stall out.
Yeah, at the beginning, I raised my prices every, I wouldn't say 3 weddings I booked, and now I raise my prices every 3 weddings a month I book. So every month I have 3 weddings that I book, I raise my prices.
Nice.
Because that's all I want to do. I only want to book 3 weddings a month and do 3 weddings. And it never works out that way because like here in the DC area, like everyone wants to get married in fall. You have like the leaves colors changing and everything. So I end up doing like 15 weddings in October, September. But like I just want to book 3 weddings a month, and that's all I really want to do right now. And like I think I'm fine with that. So the second I book more than 3 weddings a month, I raise my prices. And I'm not talking about a huge amount, like $300 to $500 more.
Sure, yeah. Brett, this has been awesome, man. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts, sharing your growth, sharing some of your strategies that you've used. Where can people find out more about you and your work?
Yeah, they can hit me up. My website is brett-lee.com, and I also do headshots and have a commercial studio. So that's at Carbon 6, the number 6, carbon6studios.com. They can hit me up there too. So
awesome, Brett. Thank you so much, man. I'm excited to get this out to everybody. Again, it's currently live right now, episode 60 of SF Live. And again, you guys, if you're not aware, every single weekday, Monday through Friday, I go live for you guys on Six Figure Live and try to show up and bring you guys behind the scenes and give you guys value in any way, shape, or form. And episode 60s just happens to me bringing you behind the scenes of a podcast. So, Brett, this has been rad. Thanks again, man.
Oh, thanks so much. I really appreciate it, man. And yeah, thanks everyone. I hope everyone learned something. And hit me up if anyone's got any questions. I'd be more than happy to answer.
Awesome. Cheers, dude.
Cool. Thanks, man.
Brett, that was great. You killed it.
Cool, man. Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. Like, I hope I didn't drag on or anything. Are we still alive?
We're still live right now.
Yeah, no, I still feel like there's so much more that I could have talked about. So I know we didn't get through everything, but if you guys want, I could probably talk for days about all this.
Likewise, man. There's never enough time. There's never enough time. This has been great. So I'm going to record a separate intro. I'm going to get some links out for the things that we discussed. And then if you have anything in regards to your bio, shoot that over to me. Like I said, realistically, there's probably about 8 other episodes that are going to be ahead of this. And so it'll be a couple months. Is the expectation. So, but hey, it's currently live on Facebook right now. So there's that as well. Brett, this has been rad. I've got to hop out. I got to go to another meeting, and but we'll go from there, man. I'm an open book, so feel free to reach out again. Okay.
Cool. Thanks, man. And same to you, man. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it, man. And like I said, if you have any more questions, feel free to hit me up.
Awesome. Will do. Cheers.
Cool. Thanks, man. Talk to you later, man.
See ya.
All right. Bye.
Hey guys, that was a live podcast for y'all. Hopefully you found some value in that. It was super fun. It was a long one, so I appreciate you guys who hung out. I'm going to hop over. Actually, I've got another podcast interview to do. I'm going to take you guys out because that'd just be crazy long. But we will see you tomorrow. Tomorrow Thursday?
Yeah.
Tomorrow's Thursday, you guys. We'll see you episode 61 tomorrow on SF Live. Bye, everybody.